The universe as a dream. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that everything you knew was just part of a long, elaborate dream. The people you spoke to, the streets you walked, the sun that warmed your skin, none of it was real. Now, imagine never waking up from that dream. If consciousness is the only way we experience reality, how can we be sure that what we call the universe isn't just a dream itself? Everything we perceive is filtered through our senses. Light enters our eyes, sound vibrates in our ears, and electrical signals travel through our nervous system to our brain, which then interprets these signals as reality. I would love to invite you to share in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. It's incredible to think about how we're all connected through these stories and ideas. If you enjoy these thought-provoking explorations, consider subscribing to Tired Thinker so we can continue bringing you reflective narratives. Now, settle in, get comfortable, and let your imagination drift as we delve into the mind-boggling paradoxes and mysteries. But these signals are only interpretations, not reality itself. When you dream at night, your brain constructs entire worlds from memories, emotions, and random thoughts. You can see, hear, feel, and even experience pain in dreams, even though none of it physically exists. If a dream can feel as real as waking life, what proof do we have that waking life is not just another, more persistent dream? Philosophers and scientists have wrestled with this question for centuries. Plato spoke of a world of forms, an unseen reality beyond what we perceive. Descartes questioned everything except his own thinking, leading to his famous conclusion, "I think, therefore I am." More recently, physicists have suggested that reality itself might be more illusory than we think. Some theories propose that the universe behaves like a simulation, governed by mathematical rules rather than physical objects. If space and time are just constructs, then our experience of reality might be no different from an elaborate illusion. Lucid dreaming offers a compelling analogy. In a lucid dream, the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming. Some people even learn to control these dreams, changing the environment or manipulating objects with sheer willpower. In waking life, we feel bound by the laws of physics. But in a dream, the rules shift. Gravity might not apply, and time might move differently. If the universe is a dream, we may simply be unaware of the fact, much like a dreamer who hasn't realized they're dreaming. Consider the way time moves in a dream. You can experience hours, or even days in the span of a few minutes. Neuroscientists suggest that our perception of time is not fixed but fluid, influenced by the way our brains process information. If time can stretch and contract in dreams, could our perception of time in waking life also be an illusion? If so, what does that say about the nature of reality? Quantum mechanics adds another layer to this mystery. At the smallest levels, reality behaves in strange ways. Particles exist in multiple states at once until they are observed, a phenomenon known as superposition. The very act of observing changes the outcome, as if reality needs a witness to solidify its form. If reality only exists when it is observed, does that mean it exists at all when no one is looking? A dream works the same way. When you turn away, the background shifts, and when you focus on something new, it forms as if it was always there. Some thinkers propose that consciousness itself is fundamental to reality. Instead of being a byproduct of the brain, it could be the foundation upon which the universe is built. In this view, the universe is not a collection of physical objects, but a vast field of consciousness dreaming itself into existence. Ancient traditions hint at this idea. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of Maya describes the world as an illusion. And in Buddhist teachings, the self is seen as a fleeting construct rather than a fixed entity. Even in Western thought, the idea of the world being a dream appears in literature and poetry. Imagine for a moment that you wake up in a completely different existence with no memory of this one. Everything you once believed to be true vanishes. How would you know which reality is real? You wouldn't. This highlights a troubling but fascinating idea. If a dream can feel real, then real life may only feel real because we haven't woken up from it. Some people report experiencing moments of unreality, where they briefly feel as if the world around them is artificial, like a scene in a play or a set in a movie. This sensation, known as derealization, can be unsettling. It suggests that even in waking life, the feeling of reality is not constant. If reality were truly solid, why would it sometimes waver? There's also the question of memory. In a dream, you often accept impossible situations without question because your mind fills in the gaps. You might find yourself in a place you've never seen before yet know exactly where you are. You might meet a stranger and feel as if you've known them forever. If our waking memories operate in a similar way, what does that say about the stability of reality? How much of what we remember is real? And how much is just a story our brain constructs to make sense of our experience? If the universe is a dream, then who is the dreamer? Some would say it's you. Others might suggest it is something larger, a collective consciousness, or an unknown entity beyond our comprehension. If everything we know is a dream, then waking up might mean something entirely different than what we expect. But how do we wake up? And would we even want to? The unsettling part of this idea is that it calls into question everything we take for granted. The comforting part is that it means reality may be far more flexible than we believe. If existence is a dream, then perhaps we have more influence over it than we realize. Maybe we are not just passive observers, but active participants shaping the dream as we go. In the end, whether the universe is a dream or not may not change the way we live our daily lives. We still wake up, go to work, talk to friends, and experience joy and pain. But the possibility that reality is not as rigid as we assume invites us to question more, to see the world with fresh eyes, and to embrace the unknown. If nothing else, it makes the ordinary feel extraordinary, and that in itself is worth pondering. Life unfolds in pieces. Life as a puzzle. Some pieces fit perfectly, while others seem like they belong to a different puzzle altogether. Every person, every experience, and every decision contribute to an overall picture that remains incomplete until the end. People spend years searching for the right pieces, often without knowing what the final image will be. From childhood, individuals start gathering pieces. Family provides the first set. The way parents talk, the routines of daily life, and the values taught all create an early foundation. Some pieces are handed down without question. A child raised in a home that values education might see school as a natural fit, while another child surrounded by instability may see uncertainty as the only predictable part of life. These early pieces shape perception. A person raised in a loving home may expect kindness from the world, while someone exposed to harshness might always brace for conflict. School introduces new pieces. Friendships form, teachers influence, and lessons extend beyond textbooks. A child learns that actions have consequences, that words can both heal and wound, and that fitting in requires effort. Some pieces from this period fit easily, like a natural talent for math or an interest in history. Others feel forced, like trying to enjoy a subject that doesn't click. Adolescence complicates the puzzle. The certainty of childhood fades. Friendships shift, and identity feels uncertain. One day, a person feels confident. The next, doubt takes over. External pressures from parents, teachers, and peers add to the confusion. A teenager must decide which pieces to keep and which to discard. Not every lesson from childhood remains useful. Some beliefs need reshaping. A strict view of right and wrong might soften as new perspectives emerge. A fear of failure may become a motivation to improve. Adulthood presents the most challenging pieces. Career choices, relationships, and personal growth all demand attention. Some people find pieces that fit quickly. A person with a clear career path may feel a sense of direction early. Others struggle, trying different jobs and paths before finding something that makes sense. Relationships follow a similar pattern. Some friendships and romances fall into place effortlessly, while others take work. Some never fit, no matter how much effort is put in. Mistakes often feel like the wrong pieces. A poor career choice, a failed relationship, or a bad decision can seem like setbacks. But even the wrong pieces serve a purpose. A job that doesn't work out might teach valuable skills. A failed relationship can clarify what truly matters in a partner. Each experience, whether good or bad, adds to the larger picture. Without wrong pieces, the right ones might never be recognized. Personal growth shifts the puzzle over time. What once seemed important might fade. A person who once sought approval from others may learn to prioritize personal fulfillment instead. A belief that once guided decisions may evolve with experience. The puzzle is never static. It expands, reshapes, and adjusts with each new phase of life. People also influence each other's puzzles. A mentor provides a missing piece by offering guidance. A friend's encouragement fills a gap in self-confidence. Even negative experiences contribute. A betrayal might teach caution, while a disappointment might build resilience. Every interaction, whether positive or negative, shapes the final image. Unexpected events add complexity. A sudden loss, an unforeseen opportunity, or a drastic change can shift the puzzle's direction. Plans may no longer make sense, and the picture that once seemed clear might blur. Adaptation becomes necessary. Some pieces must be rearranged, and some must be let go. The ability to adjust determines how well a person navigates life's uncertainties. The puzzle is never fully complete. Even in old age, new pieces emerge. A person may discover a new passion, reconnect with an old friend, or change a long-held belief. The search for pieces never ends. Some gaps remain, and that's part of the design. Life doesn't provide all the answers. The missing pieces keep curiosity alive, driving people to keep searching, learning, and growing. Measuring time, or time measuring us. People think they control time. They mark it, track it, and divide it into neat sections. Clocks tick forward, and calendars flip from one day to the next. The work week follows a predictable rhythm, and the years stack up in careful order. But the question remains, do we measure time, or does time measure us? A person wakes up to an alarm set to start the day at a precise moment. The alarm doesn't care if they need more sleep. The workday starts at 9 o'clock and ends at 5 o'clock. Meetings begin at sharp intervals, school bells ring, and appointments slot into the open gaps on a schedule. Everything runs on time, yet time doesn't speed up or slow down to fit the plan. The seconds tick forward, steady and unbothered by the rush of human lives. A child experiences time differently. A summer break stretches out like an eternity, while a single school day drags on forever. In contrast, an adult looks back on a year and wonders where it went. The perception of time shifts based on age, experience, and even emotion. The same clock moves forward for both, but one experiences time as sluggish and drawn out, while the other finds it slipping away. Stress can alter the way time feels. When a person waits for test results, time crawls. When they rush through a deadline, time vanishes. A firefighter in a burning building may only have seconds to make a decision, yet those seconds stretch out in their mind. A driver who nearly crashes might recall the event in slow motion. The brain processes events differently under stress, making some moments feel elongated and others too brief to grasp. A person can measure time down to milliseconds, but they can't slow it or change its speed. Athletes rely on timers to capture the smallest differences between winning and losing. A runner crosses the finish line a fraction of a second before another, and that difference is recorded. Yet to the athletes, the race may have felt both incredibly fast and painfully slow at the same time. Their bodies move in real time, but their minds experience something different. People often say they don't have enough time. They try to manage it, schedule it, and control it. Time management techniques promise to help squeeze more productivity into the same 24 hours. Planners, apps, and reminders all attempt to keep time in check, yet no one ever adds more hours to the day. The sun rises and sets, whether tasks are finished or not. Cultures approach time in different ways. Some view it as a rigid structure where being late is unacceptable. Others see it as flexible, where schedules serve as loose guidelines. In some places, an event starts when people arrive rather than at a set time. These perspectives shape how people live and work, but the actual passage of time remains the same. The sun moves across the sky at the same pace, no matter how humans interpret the schedule. History records time on a grand scale: the fall of an empire, the rise of a civilization, the span of a human life, all measured in years, decades, and centuries. Yet, time continues beyond these markers. The earth rotated before humans invented a calendar and will continue after they are gone. The stars burned before people gave them names and will burn long after their names are forgotten. Time does not need measurement to exist. Technology has allowed for more precise tracking of time. Atomic clocks measure time so accurately that they lose only a fraction of a second over millions of years. GPS systems rely on exact time measurements to function properly. Satellites orbit Earth, adjusting for time differences caused by relativity. Even though humans measure time with precision, they cannot escape its effects. The body ages, the seasons change, and the universe continues expanding. Some scientists argue that time is an illusion, a human-made construct to make sense of change. They suggest that everything exists at once, and that time is simply a way to perceive motion. Others believe time is fundamental, an essential component of reality. If time stopped, would anything exist at all? The debate continues, but one fact remains. Humans experience time, whether or not they understand it fully. Memory plays a role in how time is perceived. A routine week blurs together, but an eventful day stands out. A vacation filled with new experiences feels long while it happens, but seems short when looking back. Time appears to slow down during moments of crisis and speed up during times of joy. This distortion makes time feel personal rather than fixed. It is not just a number on a clock, but a sensation shaped by what happens in life. Time and mortality go hand in hand. A child rarely considers the passing years, but an elderly person feels them deeply. Birthdays come faster as people age, not because time moves differently, but because each year becomes a smaller fraction of a life already lived. A 10-year-old feels a year as a tenth of their life, while a 60-year-old experiences it as just 1/60th. The measurement does not change, but the experience of it does. The idea of time travel fascinates people. Stories explore the possibility of moving forward or backward in time, changing events, or witnessing history firsthand. Science suggests that time travel to the future is theoretically possible through extreme speeds or gravitational forces, but traveling to the past remains uncertain. Even if time travel were possible, would it change the past or create a new timeline? Would a traveler find themselves outside of time's grasp, or would they still be bound by its rules? Philosophers and scientists alike ponder time's nature. Some believe in determinism, where every event is set in motion by the past, making free will an illusion. Others argue that time is open-ended, shaped by choices and possibilities. If time is predetermined, then every moment unfolds exactly as it must. If it is not, then the future remains unwritten. Both views lead to deep questions about existence and purpose. Time also influences relationships. People feel the weight of time in long-distance friendships, lost connections, and aging loved ones. A conversation with a grandparent might feel routine, until time makes it impossible. A childhood friend may seem frozen in the past until a reunion reveals how much they have changed. Time separates people, but it also connects them. Memories allow the past to exist in the present, even as time moves forward. In the end, time moves with or without human measurement. It does not care about schedules, deadlines, or birthdays. It does not wait for anyone to be ready. People carve their lives into hours, minutes, and seconds, but time itself remains indifferent. They measure time, but time also measures them through their actions, experiences, and the inevitable passage of their lives. Every atom in the human body has an origin long before it became part of a cell. Stardust and self-discovery, the oxygen in your lungs, the carbon in your muscles, and the calcium in your bones. All of these elements were forged in the intense heat of a star. Stars burn for millions or billions of years, and when they die, some explode in a supernova, scattering their elements across the universe. These elements form new stars, planets, and eventually, life. This means every person is made of stardust, a physical connection between human life and the cosmos. People often think of themselves as separate from nature. Cities, technology, and human progress seem to push further away from the raw materials of the earth. Yet, no matter how much the world changes, the body remains a collection of ancient atoms, each one passing through time and space before finding its way into human form. This idea challenges the way people define identity. A person is not just their thoughts, memories, or experiences. They are also matter built from the remnants of something much older than humanity itself. Understanding this origin changes the way people see themselves. The body is not something static. It is always in motion, always changing. Cells regenerate constantly. Old ones die, and new ones take their place. Some parts of the body replace themselves faster than others. The skin, for example, renews itself every few weeks. Other cells last longer. Bones, while appearing solid, undergo a slow transformation as old material breaks down and new material takes its place. Even the brain, the seat of consciousness, reshapes itself in response to learning and experience. This means that no person remains physically the same for very long. If every part of the body is temporary, what does that say about identity? People often define themselves based on past experiences, personal choices, or relationships. But beneath all of that, the body itself is shifting. The molecules making up a person today will not be the same molecules that make them up in the future. Despite that, a sense of self remains. A person remembers their childhood even though none of the cells from that time remain. The atoms change, but the continuity of experience stays intact. This paradox raises questions about permanence and change. If a person is made of stardust, and that stardust is always moving, what keeps a person the same? The mind plays a key role. While the body replaces its parts, the brain forms pathways that preserve memory and behavior. These pathways are shaped by experience, but are also influenced by the physical structure of the brain. The neurons, the chemical signals, the electrical impulses. These elements work together to create continuity. But even the brain is not fixed. It adapts, rewires itself, and grows in response to new situations. Identity, then, is not just something a person has. It is something a person builds over time. People often struggle with change. Losing something familiar can feel like losing a part of oneself. But when viewed through the lens of stardust, change becomes a natural process. The body has never been static. It is always shifting, always responding to its environment. This applies not just to biology, but to personal growth as well. People evolve through their choices, just as their cells regenerate. Some changes are small, barely noticeable. Others are drastic, reshaping a person's life in unexpected ways. But all of it is part of the same cycle: the movement of atoms, the reorganization of matter, the continuous renewal of self. The connection between humans and the universe extends beyond the body. The earth itself formed from the remnants of older stars. Every rock, ocean, and mountain shares the same cosmic origin as the human body. The air people breathe was once part of something else. The water in the oceans has cycled through countless forms: rain, rivers, glaciers, living beings. This means that nothing truly exists in isolation. Everything is part of a larger system, constantly exchanging matter and energy. This realization can change the way people see their place in the world. It is easy to feel small in the face of the universe, the vastness of space, the scale of time, the unknown depths of reality. These things can be overwhelming, but instead of making a person feel insignificant, they can do the opposite. If a person is made of the same material as the stars, then they are as much a part of the universe as anything else. They belong, not because of what they do, but simply because they exist. This perspective can also influence the way people relate to one another. If everyone is made of stardust, then every person shares a fundamental connection. Differences in background, belief, and experience may shape identity, but beneath all of that, the same atoms flow through every human being. This does not erase individuality. Instead, it highlights a common origin, a shared history written in the fabric of the cosmos. Understanding this can lead to a greater sense of responsibility. People often view themselves as separate from the world around them, but in reality, they are deeply intertwined with it. The choices made today will shape the future, just as the remnants of past stars shape the present. This applies not just on a cosmic scale, but in daily life. The way people treat each other, the way they interact with the environment, the way they think about progress. All of these things are connected. For many, this idea brings comfort. The thought that nothing is truly lost, only transformed, can be reassuring. A person's atoms will continue their journey long after they are gone. They may become part of something else, a tree, a cloud, another living being. The cycle does not end. It only changes form. This does not make loss easier, but it provides a different way to see it. Nothing disappears completely. Everything continues in some way. Some might question whether this scientific perspective can hold personal meaning. The idea of stardust may sound poetic, but does it change anything practical? In a way, it does. It shifts the focus from seeing life as something isolated to seeing it as part of something much larger. It challenges the notion of permanence, making it easier to accept change. It encourages a deeper appreciation for existence itself. If life is a fleeting arrangement of stardust, then every moment, every experience, every connection matters, not because they last forever, but because they exist at all. This does not mean people should abandon personal struggles or ignore hardships. Instead, it suggests a way to frame them differently. Struggles are part of the process of change. They are as natural as the shifting of atoms, the formation of new stars, the renewal of life. No single moment defines a person entirely. Like the stars before them, they will change, adapt, and leave behind something that carries forward. Stardust does not stay in one place. Neither do people. Their journey continues, shaped by the same forces that created the universe itself. Reality is something we experience every day.